But the truth hit Anika like a slap in the face. There were other women, not just one, compared to the horrors that followed, and the humiliation felt like a public execution of her dignity. Welcome back to another episode of Get Real with JB. Today we are diving into a story that's heartbreaking yet all too familiar for many women around the world. It's a story of dreams crushed under the weight of societal expectations, of hope lost in the face of overwhelming pressure. We are talking about Anika's journey, a woman who dared to dream of a life of her own, only to have those dreams shattered by the very people who should have supported her. This episode isn't just about Anika's story. It's a reflection on how culture, family, and tradition often dictate the paths women are forced to follow and the long-lasting effects it has on their mental and emotional health. Stick with me as we explore the harsh realities women still face today. A small disclaimer. To protect the identities of those involved, the names in the story have been changed, but the emotions shared are 100% real. Anika is a 23-year-old woman who had lived her life with fierce independence. She grew up in a small town where everyone knew everyone else's business. But Anika was determined to carve a different path for herself. She had always been a bright student, earning top grades in school, and was set on attending a prestigious college, dreaming of a career that would allow her to travel, create, and explore the world. While her peers followed the well-trodden path of early marriage and settling down, Anika had bigger aspirations. She wanted a career in media, working with global brands, and building a life where she could freely choose her relationships and experiences. The idea of marriage seemed far removed from her ambitions. Her parents, traditional in many ways, had always hinted at finding a good match for her, but Anika's focus had always been on her education and future, convinced that her choices would define her life. She was self-sufficient, independent, and clear about her goals. She wasn't interested in settling for an arranged marriage or traditional gender roles. Love for her had to come naturally, with a partner who would walk beside her, not dictate her every step. The weight of familial expectations hit Anika like a ton of bricks when one evening her parents sat her down for what seemed like a routine conversation. The discussion started with small talk, how she was adjusting to her new job, how life had been after graduation. But it quickly escalated into something that felt too significant to ignore. Her parents, whom she had always admired and respected, were making a decision that would alter the course of her life. They had found a husband for her, a man they deemed perfect. He was well-educated, financially stable, and from a family that was socially respected. For her parents, that was enough. They spoke of his credentials like a resume, listing his job, his family, and his reputation in glowing terms. They didn't ask her opinion. They didn't even seek her feelings. The plan had been made and Anika's role was to comply. Her heart sank as she heard the words. She had always known this was a possibility, but knowing it was inevitable were two very different things. Her dreams of independence seemed distant now, overshadowed by this new reality. The pressure to agree, to make peace with it, was overwhelming. She felt powerless, unable to voice her concerns without feeling guilty for disappointing her parents. The wedding day arrived with an almost surreal quality. Anika felt as though she were watching someone else's life unfold before her eyes. The preparations were grand, lavish decor, a sea of guests, and the overwhelming chaos of traditional rituals. But Anika couldn't bring herself to feel the excitement everyone around her seemed to radiate. The celebrations felt like a facade, a performance she was forced to participate in, rather than an event she was excited about. She put on the bridal lehenga, feeling the heavy fabric press against her skin. It was beautiful, intricate, and expensive, yet it felt like a symbol of everything that had been chosen for her, not by her. As she looked at herself in the mirror, she couldn't recognize the woman staring back at her. This wasn't the Anika who had dreamed of traveling the world or building a career. This wasn't the woman who had been determined to stay true to herself. Her reflection seemed distant, disconnected, as though she were someone else, someone who didn't have a say in her own life. Rohan, the man she was about to marry, stood beside her, a figure whose face she had barely studied, whose touch felt unfamiliar. He smiled politely, but there was no warmth in his eyes. As the ceremony progressed, Anika couldn't help but feel the weight of every tradition and expectation pressing down on her, suffocating the person she had once been. In the days following their wedding, Anika held onto a fragile hope that things would improve. She understood that marriage often came with its fair share of challenges, and she believed that with time Rohan would open up emotionally and they would grow together and that love would flourish. But instead of the connection she had longed for, she found herself drowning in disappointment and pain. Rohan, the man who had seemed so perfect on paper, revealed a different side of himself. His emotional distance grew more pronounced with each passing day. He no longer showed interest in spending time with her or getting to know her better. He would leave early in the morning for work, come home late, and barely acknowledge her presence when he did. When he was home, he would often disappear into his phone, his attention fixed on messages from someone or something that didn't concern her. Anika tried to confront him about it, but he brushed her off with a coldness that made her feel invisible. But the truth hit Anika like a slap in the face one evening when she accidentally stumbled upon one of Rohan's texts, an explicit exchange with another woman. Her heart sank as she realized that her husband wasn't just emotionally distant, he was seeing other women. Her mind raced as she pieced together the evidence of multiple affairs that he had been hiding. There were other women, not just one. It was an open secret in their marriage, one that Rohan saw no need to hide. He had become arrogant in his disregard for her feelings, flaunting his infidelities without even a hint of remorse. When Anika confronted him, her voice trembled with hurt and betrayal. She asked him why he had done this, why he had lied to her, why he had promised one life and instead gave her another filled with deceit. But Rohan didn't respond with any apology or even an explanation. Instead, he smirked and told her it wasn't a big deal. "It's just a fling," he said dismissively. His arrogance was unshakable. He told her she should stop being so insecure, that he had every right to do as he pleased. The weight of his words crushed Anika's spirit. It wasn't just the affairs themselves that tore at her. No, it was his utter lack of respect for her, the fact that he didn't even care to hide it, the callousness with which he dismissed her pain. She was nothing to him, just a trophy wife, a convenient accessory to be shown off at family gatherings while he lived his life with multiple women behind her back. As painful as the emotional betrayal was, it was nothing compared to the horrors that followed. Once Rohan knew that Anika had discovered his affairs, his behavior became more erratic, more hostile. He saw her as a nuisance, a reminder of his dishonesty, and he took his anger out on her in increasingly brutal ways. The verbal insults and cruel remarks escalated into physical violence that shocked her to her core. It started small, shoving her out of the way when she tried to talk to him, slapping her hand away when she reached out to him. He would belittle her in front of others, and the humiliation felt like a public execution of her dignity. But it didn't stop there. The abuse grew worse with each passing week. One evening, after a disagreement about his lack of involvement in their home, Rohan snapped. His fury came out of nowhere, his hands grabbing her roughly by the shoulders. He shoved her against the wall, her back hitting it with such force that her vision blurred for a moment. She was stunned, unable to comprehend what had just happened. Before she could even process the pain, Rohan threw her down the stairs. The thud of her body hitting each step was deafening. Anika's world spun violently as she struggled to regain her bearings. Her body screamed in pain, but her mind was filled with confusion and disbelief. The man she had once loved, the man she had trusted, was now the source of her greatest agony. He stood at the top of the stairs, his expression cold and detached, as though he hadn't just thrown her down a flight of stairs. He didn't care if she was hurt. If anything, her pain seemed to amuse him. This wasn't just an isolated incident. It wasn't a one-time mistake that could be forgiven. Rohan's violence became a pattern, a terrifying routine that Anika could not escape. Every time she tried to confront him about his infidelities or demanded respect, he met her with force. His brutality was unpredictable, sometimes a slap, sometimes a punch, sometimes a kick, each time worse than the last. And when she tried to leave or resist, he would drag her back, pin her down, and make her understand that there was nowhere to go. This was her life now, whether she liked it or not. The bruises began to show, not just on her body but on her soul. She felt herself wither away under the constant weight of fear and pain. Rohan's physical abuse had stripped her of any sense of safety or comfort. She no longer recognized the woman she once was. Her independence, her drive, her dreams, they were all smothered under the suffocating reality of her marriage. One night, Anika reached her breaking point. After yet another vicious beating, she found herself alone in the bathroom, tears streaming down her face as she tried to stop the bleeding from her lip. She grabbed her phone and called her mother, her hands shaking as she dialed the number. She could barely speak through her sobs, but she forced the words out, telling her mother what was happening to her. Her mother's response was cold and dismissive. "This is your life now, Anika. You made your choice. You need to endure it. Marriage is about sacrifices." Her father's response was even worse. He told her that she had to stay and uphold the honor of the family, that divorce was not an option under any circumstances. The words were like daggers to her heart, and with each passing moment, Anika realized that there was no one coming to her rescue. She was alone in this fight. Her own family, the very people who had raised her, had turned their backs on her when she needed them the most. Anika's world, now fully engulfed in darkness, began to shift once again. One day she found herself pregnant. The thought of having a child, a life she could care for and love, ignited something inside her that she hadn't felt in a long time: hope. She clung to the idea that this child might change everything, that maybe Rohan would change for the better. But Rohan's indifference to her pregnancy shattered her fragile hope. The abuse didn't stop, it only intensified. When Anika begged him to stop, to think of the life they were creating together, he simply laughed. The violence continued. One night, after an especially brutal beating, Anika ended up in the hospital only to be told that she had lost the baby. The physical damage from Rohan's attack had cost her everything: her child, her hope, and in many ways her will to continue. Her life, it seemed, was now irrevocably broken. Rohan's cruelty, his betrayals, and the indifference of those who should have cared for her left Anika with a profound emptiness that would be difficult to fill. But somewhere deep within, she still held onto a tiny flicker of strength. And though the pain was almost unbearable, the quiet whispers of hope and the memory of who she once was kept her from surrendering completely. Anika's life had become a cycle of pain, one that she could no longer endure. The physical abuse, the emotional manipulation, and the crushing weight of betrayal had taken their toll. But it was the loss of her child, the one small hope she had clung to, that broke her. For the first time, Anika realized that there would never be a better version of Rohan, no miraculous turnaround. She understood deep down that she would never be able to change him, and she couldn't keep sacrificing herself in the process. That night, after the brutal beating that had shattered her body and spirit, Anika made a decision that would alter the course of her life forever. She was done with the lies, done with the fear, done with the suffocating grip that Rohan had on her. For the first time in years, she felt a spark of clarity. It was as if the veil had been lifted and she saw her life not as a victim of circumstances, but as a woman who still had choices, and that realization gave her the strength to act. The next morning, with nothing but the clothes on her back and a fierce determination in her heart, Anika made a call to her best friend. She had been silent for so long, kept in isolation by Rohan's control, but she knew her friend was the one person who would understand, who would take her in without question. That moment, as her friend led her inside her house, was the first time in a long while that Anika allowed herself to feel comfort, to feel like she mattered. She collapsed into the safety of her friend's home, a place where the walls weren't lined with the cruelty of her marriage. For the first time, she allowed herself to breathe without fear of what might come next. The days that followed were a blur of emotions: relief, anger, sadness, and yes, even a strange sense of peace. Anika knew she couldn't stay with her friend forever, but it was exactly what she needed. Time away from Rohan, time to think clearly and make the decision that would change her life. The overwhelming realization that she deserved more, that she was worthy of love, respect, and happiness, slowly began to replace the fog of confusion that had clouded her mind for so long. She decided to file for divorce. The months that followed were filled with challenges, but they also gave Anika a sense of growth she had never experienced before. She enrolled in counseling to process the trauma of her marriage and began the long journey of healing both physically and emotionally. She rejoined work, something she had neglected for years, and gradually rebuilt the confidence that Rohan had stripped away. But more than anything, Anika learned to love herself again. She realized that her worth wasn't tied to a man or his approval. She was more than enough on her own. As Anika looked forward to what lay ahead, she knew that while the past would always be a part of her, it no longer held the power to control her. She was stronger than ever, and her journey of self-discovery, healing, and empowerment had only just begun. Anika's story hits hard, and it's one that resonates deeply because it shines a light on the often invisible struggles that many women face in traditional societies. As much as we talk about progress and empowerment in today's world, there are still countless women like Anika who are fighting against societal norms that insist their dreams and ambitions should always take a backseat to family duty. What struck me about Anika's journey is how many people, particularly women, are expected to surrender their autonomy at the altar of family expectations. Whether it's forced marriages or the pressure to live a life that others choose for you, these situations are far more common than we might think. In Anika's case, she is a woman with potential, with dreams. She wants a life filled with her own accomplishments, not just those defined by others. But as we see, societal expectations often impose limitations that limit her autonomy. It's not just about a personal tragedy, it's about a larger cultural issue. In fact, research shows that in many cultures, the idea of forced marriage is still a real and pressing problem. According to a 2022 report by UNICEF, over 12 million girls are married before the age of 18 every year. That's more than 23 girls every minute. What's worse is that it's not just a problem in developing countries. It happens in developed nations too, often disguised under the veil of tradition, culture, or family honor. What stands out in Anika's story is the isolation she faces, especially when she reaches out to her family for support. The lack of understanding from her parents, particularly from her mother, who tells her to endure, is unfortunately a sentiment that many women can relate to. How often do we hear the phrase, "it's your duty," or "this is just how marriage is," when women try to speak up about their dissatisfaction or suffering? According to a 2021 survey by the National Family Health Survey in India, nearly 23% of married women aged 18 to 29 reported experiencing some form of physical violence, and many didn't seek help because of the societal stigma surrounding divorce or separation. This statistic speaks volumes about how deeply ingrained these expectations are and how they silence women's voices, leaving them with little room for escape. Anika's emotional breakdown after the miscarriage is the moment when it becomes crystal clear just how much she had been carrying alone. The loss of her child isn't just a physical loss, but the final blow to her spirit, a symbol of all the dreams and hopes that were crushed under the weight of her oppressive reality. It's gut-wrenching, but it's also a powerful reminder of how the emotional and psychological toll of such forced situations can extend far beyond the moment itself. According to the World Health Organization, women who experience intimate partner violence, whether emotional, physical, or both, are at a significantly higher risk for mental health issues, including depression, anxiety, and suicidal rates. In Anika's case, this rings true. Her emotional decline is evident, and the trauma she endures will likely have long-lasting effects on her mental health and well-being. Now, think about how common this is. Many women find themselves in situations where their happiness is sacrificed for family needs, societal pressures, or just the fear of being ostracized. But here's the thing that I find heartbreaking and frustrating. We have made so much progress as a society, yet stories like Anika's are still happening around the world every single day. I mean, here we are in the year 2025, and yet there are places where women still don't have the agency to make basic decisions about their own lives. It's so easy to look at this and say, well, it's a different culture, or that's their tradition. But the truth is, these cultural norms often do more harm than good, especially when it comes to the mental and emotional well-being of women. It's high time that we start to question these traditions and ask ourselves, are we really helping women when we push them into situations that make them miserable or worse, unsafe? This is why stories like Anika's are so important. They are a reminder of how much work we still have ahead of us in terms of ensuring women's rights and freedoms. We need to do more to advocate for and support women who are trapped in these cycles of control. One way is by continuing to challenge cultural norms that prioritize tradition over the individual well-being. Another way is by supporting policies and movements that work towards gender equality. For example, ensuring women have access to education, employment, and the ability to choose their own partners without fear of retribution can drastically change the course of many lives. In fact, studies show that when women are educated and have financial independence, they are much more likely to make decisions that improve their quality of life and escape harmful situations. What's even more heartening is that progress is possible. In countries like India, where arranged marriages have been a long standing tradition, we have seen an uptick in the number of women who are choosing partners based on love and mutual respect. While the shift is slow, it's happening. A report by the Indian government revealed that the age at which women are getting married is rising, with more women pursuing higher education and careers before settling down. The rise of feminist movements and a broader societal push for gender equality is also creating more space for conversations around autonomy and choice. But we can't stop here. Anika's story needs to be a wake-up call for all of us. It's a call to action, urging us to do more to support women's autonomy, to break the shackles of outdated traditions, and to create spaces where women like Anika don't have to suffer in silence. It's about shifting the narrative from one of obedience and sacrifice to one of strength, independence, and choice. We have to remember that every woman has the right to choose her own path, free from fear and judgment. In the end, while Anika's story is tragic, it also offers us the opportunity to reflect on our own society's values and the way we treat women. Are we really empowering them, or are we still holding them back under the guise of tradition? It's time we asked ourselves this question, and more importantly, it's time we acted on it. Thank you for joining me on today's episode of Get Real with JB. If Anika's story resonated with you, I would urge you to share it with someone who can benefit from it. Thank you again for listening. Until next time, keep it real.